is there any effort in that direction? I think it would pay off.
Thank you. Good question. Can you pass the mic back for this lady right here? I think she was going to be next. Answer, Kate.
I can talk about that. So that's really what I am really interested in doing next year. My last year at Reed is working on-campus sustainability culture. And I'm working with Steve Eaton, who works in facilities. He's a facilities manager, and two other members of the junior seminar, the environmental studies junior seminar, and we are going to make instructional videos for all of the dorms. So when you move in as a freshman, you'll have access, hopefully, if we get this done this summer, access to a video that is like, for example, Anaman 101. So here's what you need to know if you're living in Anaman. Here's how to live in Anaman the most sustainably that you can. Here's how to manage your waste. Here's how to work your heater. Here's what not to do. Don't turn your heater off. Don't open a window to cool your room down. And we're really hoping that just having access to that information will help students think more about it, especially if they get that information before they've moved in, so they have actual incentive to watch the video so they can see what their living conditions will be like. So that's what we're working on right now. And then also Green Board, that's what Green Board focuses on. It's on-campus sustainability culture.
That's great. Okay, we got a question there, and then it's going to come down here.
Well,
and then
actually, Mark, I think it is.
Could you tell us your name?
Oh, Nene Hubert, Stanford graduate, 66. Anyway, Mark was working around with the same idea that I was, and Jay and I have been talking about the effectiveness of the recycling consciousness. And so much of it does have to do with education. I think this video, How to Live in Anaman, is so much on target. And the students talk to their parents who talk to their neighbors. I mean, that's how the recycling thing happened in about 10 years, I think. Who knows?
It's going to go back up. No, wait, no, it's coming down here. I'm sorry. This gentleman.
Oh no, I don't need a what.
Oh, no, we're playing the mic movement here.
Thank you.
We're doing really well. We've got 10 more minutes.
I'm Daniel, and I'm a current student. And my simple question, I want to know if there's any progress made about installing solar, wind, or other renewable installations on campus.
Yeah, I can also talk about that. We learned so much about this last semester. We have solar panels on the warehouses, which are across 28. So those were installed in 2012, and so we saw for the 2013-2014 school year, they use zero energy now, which is really cool. We paid $0 to run those buildings, which is really awesome. Unfortunately, the only other building on the campus that is solar ready is actually this one, the Performing Arts building. And after talking to Townie, who is the head of facilities, about the solar power struggle, it just doesn't really seem feasible unless we get solar panel donations, because Reed, as a private institution, does not get the same rebates on solar power as like houses do. So it actually ends up being incredibly expensive, and there's not really an upside to it except that it's carbon neutral. So we have a solar ready building, but we don't have a way to really work with facilities to do that, because this last endeavor just didn't work very well. The other option that we do have, though, is to pay 10% more on our energy bill from PTE and getting a completely renewable portfolio, which would be 98% wind and 2% hydro. Yeah, that's what we have as options.
Okay, we have one more question, and this gentleman down here in the front, I'm sorry about going back, had his hand up for a while, so we can get the last question, then we're going to go around the panel.
Well, thank you very much. I really want to thank the students especially for their very excellent work on this stuff. We like to think of Reed as a progressive institution, and one of the things about a progressive institution is it's supposed to provide some leadership, and it's supposed to do that from the point of view of an ethical framework that it operates within. And so I think that to take a policy like a policy of political neutrality, which is what apparently has been done, is really sophistry. It's saying to say it's politically neutral is taking a position. It's just taking a position for the status quo instead of taking a position of leadership for the future. Now, what REED is supposed to do, what its mission is to prepare people, young people, for a better life in the future, to make a contribution to society, and to live healthy and hopefully happy lives. And what investments in fossil fuels does is it takes that future away. So you're working at cross purposes. So when you say you're being politically neutral, you're not being politically neutral. You're contradicting your point of reason, your reason for existence. So I would challenge the board to go back and think this through again. I think this is a very bad decision, and I think that you do need to provide ethical leadership, not only to the students of today, but to the entire Reed community and to the entire community of Portland, of which you're an important part, and indeed to the educational community of the entire country.
Thank you, Peter.
So, and actually there's quite a bit more, but I'll stop there.
Great, well maybe we can follow up. We have one arm up there in the
Very emphatic
way up in the back.
I don't need a mic.
Okay.
I want to second the point that the gentleman made, and I'd like to add that we should also be divesting from companies that support the oppression of the Palestinian people by joining the BDS movement. And we should also be student activism of my era, and I think the era of the class of 1970 as well, was anti-war. And Reed should also take the lead in divesting from the munition industry.
Thank you.
Reed should take the lead in divesting from the union busting companies and the companies that rely on slave labor.
Thank you.
And the question that I have for the panel is, how do you choose which of the many oppressions Reed's board should divest from?
Well, that's
Climate
actually,
change is very important.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
sort it out.
You want to take that question? Now, we are going to let that gentleman there, right in front of, you'll get the last question. Okay.
so that's a question we got asked a lot by the board of trustees, is if we know, actually it was the, this is Ed McFarland, who's the old treasurer, told us in our first request to get a list of the money managers for Reed. He told us that he couldn't do that because if we wanted to divest from fossil fuels, then we would want to divest. If we saw what we were invested in, we would want to divest from everything. That was a really not great thing to hear. As the beginning of our campaign was that we would be disappointed with everything that we was invested in. And to answer your question, fossil fuels is what the students are committed to right now. We have the energy, we have the manpower, and that's what people are really focused on. And that was our response to board of trustees, that honestly, like it should be a discussion that we have about everything, but this is what we have student motivation to do. And that's the driving force, is what do people actually care about and want to devote their time and energy to. And people haven't been devoting their time and energy to the Israel-Palestine debate or other controversial investments. So that's kind of where we are. But if people want to do that, then we fully support people in their struggle against the war.
Thank you. All right, our final question. Your name, sir?
Jim Moore, class of 65. I hadn't heard anything mentioned here with regard to consumption of animal protein and the tremendous load that we gain in greenhouse gases for just animal emissions, which, as I understand it, actually dwarfs in terms of its effect, with methane being at least 20 times as effective as greenhouse gas as carbon dioxide.
Thank you. I think that's a very good point. I saw a recent film that just came out.
Were you going to repeat the
the question was about consumption of animals and the amount of methane generated and also all the energy that goes into meat production on our tables. There are some very interesting new documentaries coming out trying to bring more awareness to that issue. I think there's a number of things that we didn't get to today. Divestment ended up being a focus of the discussion, but obviously there are things that all of us as alumni and as investors through our donations in this college can do to try to make some change. But that's my feeling, and I've learned so much just in this process of working with this panel. I want to thank all of you. But let's go back and let everybody have their last 1 minute, so we can all get out of here.
Jim, the cafeteria has implemented a Meatless Monday effort. So they're working a small bit on helping to change culture on campus. The last two things I wanted to say is that as I never got your name, Sparkly Fingers.
Sparkly Fingers.
Yes.
Wayne.
Wayne.
Class of 70.
Great, thank you. Something that Wayne mentioned is that the donating alumni have a voice in influencing Reed's trustee board right now. And as students on the Fossil Free Reed campaign, we've met at least 5 times with the trustees, and we sort of feel like we've reached our ask limit, that we don't seem to have much of an influence right now on what's happening in the trustee board, but that donating alumni do. So if you're interested in helping the campaign, multiple ways you can do that are write a letter to either Reed Magazine or other people in the Board of Trustees, or try donating to the Divest Fund, which is something that we're trying. And there's information on the flyer that most of you have, but also on the table. And thank you for coming today during the opening reception, for being here instead of hanging out and schmoozing.
Well, I think the focus on divestment as the sole solution or the preferred solution is relatively weak, and that there are better and more robust solutions that would make a bigger financial impact, not only on consumption, but on the amount of investment in the fossil fuel industry. But I think words are cheap to the managers of the fossil fuel organizations, and I think Kate acknowledged that probably not the most impactful thing that can be done. But on the other hand, I also agree with Kate that culture is really important, and that together sharing a common view of what needs to be done is actually one of the most important steps. And I think talking about issues like this and raising awareness are really one of the important things that can be done. I certainly commend the students for taking this on, and frankly, you know, I think it mischaracterized the board chairman's position on this. I think I've heard Roger Perlmutter say that this is one of the most critical issues for the human species. There is no denying that this is really important stuff, and we have to address it.
Just want to stress the fact that we are not just working on divestment. There is so much else that is happening on campus with regard to climate change and mitigating climate change. Sustainable agriculture is my passion. That is what I love about the environmental movement. I think it's like the coolest thing in the world. And if you are interested in the impact of agricultural practices on climate change, it is huge. I recommend the documentary Cowspiracy. We showed it as Green Board. None of us had seen it before, and we all really enjoyed it. It's like a little silly, but they have a lot of great facts, and it's really inspiring. Yeah, it's all about you guys. Just like, all the decisions you make in your life are really, really important. And then again, thank you for coming. This is really cool to do.
The long and the short of it is the smart people we trust to do everything else, the engineers, the people who bring us the flat screen TVs and the airplanes that fly and everything else, they tell us that the stuff has to stay in the ground or we're in big trouble. And that's really, if it's going to stay on the ground, people are going to lose value. Betting on the wrong horse is a mistake. Changing your bet may not be the most effective thing to do, but it's something to do. I don't think we should do
Harlan mentioned that he held shares in a fossil fuel company. I saw a lot of heads bobbing up and down. And, I do want to let you know, if you hold shares in a company, you can vote on the proxies. And the social responsible movement is actually a little bit split on the divestment issue. There are those people that say divest everything, and there are those people that say, well, hold on to some shares, vote your shares, and try to influence corporate policy that way. So they're both valid. So if you do hold shares, take a look at those proxies as they come and vote your conscience. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the whole panel. This was really great, and for all of you out there who joined us in this, and hopefully the conversation will continue. Thanks a lot.